Let's start with the big news earlier this week. It was Chris Lowe, of course, now of On3, reporting the 3 annual rivalry games for at least the next 4 years. That's set to be officially announced later tonight on the SEC Network at 7 o'clock. But Chris Lowe put it out there earlier this week, and for Tennessee, it is Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. I know a lot of people wanted Kentucky to be that third team, something we spoke about here on this podcast before. But Brent Hubbs, your overall thoughts on Tennessee's draw with Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky?
I think that's the draw Tennessee fans would have loved to have seen and got what they wanted. Now it's 4 years. We'll see what happens after that. But, 2 of those were a given. They were not going to eliminate the third Saturday in October. And then when you look at every state that has 2 conference schools in this league, they're going to play the other school in that state. The Egg Bowl wasn't going away. The Iron Bowl wasn't going away. And Texas was going to play Texas A&M. The only one left was Tennessee and Vanderbilt. So you were going to play that one. And then, Rob, Kentucky Tennessee's their biggest rival. So, I think it's the draw Tennessee fans wanted. But when you look at it, it's always made the most sense. The question was there enough evidence over the last 10 years there to make it competitively balanced through the analytics that the conference used to come up with these 3 teams?
I think if you're Tennessee, you're thrilled. And that's no disrespect to Vanderbilt having a great year. But, if you go back, look historically over this past quarter century, I think Tennessee got a sweetheart deal. And you're right. I think it boiled down to, outside of Tennessee, who is Kentucky's football rival? When you're just talking about Tennessee specifically, and I think it was done more for Kentucky than to give Tennessee 2 easy ones, because really, if you take the Vols out, they just don't have anything that fires up people in a traditional way.
Yeah. Now I'll say this, Austin, you've been on this drum. You've been beating this drum pretty hard for the last couple of weeks. That there's too much hubbub caught up in who these 3 are because the other 6. Tennessee's got these 3, and they may go to Texas. They may host LSU. Everybody may be sitting here Tuesday night looking at this, and Tennessee fans are going, "This is the worst draw we've ever seen." So maybe this is a little bit overblown, AP.
You know what, Hubs? I've been swayed to the dark side.
Uh-oh.
Been swayed to the dark side by Tim Watts, who pointed out to me that, I understand what you're saying, but there are going to be years where you add Mississippi State, Missouri, Arkansas. There are other like middle to low middle teams that Tennessee could add in addition to the 2, of Kentucky and Vanderbilt, to where their schedule would be potentially, not as bad as someone else. So I don't think I'm totally wrong in saying that's a little bit overblown, but at the same time, I do understand the point of, they're potentially, you could get schools in some years, like a Mississippi State was down, Arkansas was down, Missouri was down, South Carolina, you never know what they're going through at the time of football, that, you could feel like, okay, that's a pretty good setup for Tennessee, because they already have 2 locked in lesser opponents in Kentucky and Vanderbilt. So I do understand it. I do think that the conference did about as well as they could do when you look at the balance. I don't think anybody just has this murderer's row. They gave Alabama, Mississippi State. Who you got? Who you got?
I think one team, everybody's got a gripe, but I think one team has the deserving gripe, and that would be Arkansas. But outside of that, to your point, I think it's pretty balanced.
Yeah,
Arkansas, Missouri.
Missouri's no juggernaut, though.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but like back-to-back 10-win seasons, let's just look at them on paper, right? Yeah. You got Texas and LSU. So I hear you. Missouri is thought of as a lesser program, but honestly, Missouri's been winning some games here lately. I think of all 16 teams, Arkansas might have a gripe, but that's about it.
What do you think of Ole Miss's draw, Rob? Mississippi State, obviously, with LSU and Oklahoma.
I think that's an interesting one, just because you're not going to lose LSU for that traditional rivalry. And Oklahoma is kind of a weird one, but everybody kind of has a weird one in a 16-team league. And but big picture, AP, I side with you a little bit, and it's kind of overblown. But when I look at like the traditional power teams, and I'll just teams with 85,000 seat stadiums in this league, I think Tennessee's the only one that most years, and again, no disrespect to Vanderbilt having a great year, most years Tennessee's 3 opponents, they got 2 wins guaranteed. And if I look at Bama, Auburn, Georgia, Texas A&M, I don't see 2 guaranteed wins in their traditional opponents. And that's, again, like you say, you're going to have 6 other games. It's going to change the equation. But I can see why the other heavy hitters in the league think Tennessee got a big break.
If I'm an old school guy, Hubbard, and I'm at Texas, like if I'm an old traditional, old Southwest Conference, I mean, aren't you fired up about A&M, Arkansas, and Oklahoma being in your kind of trio? I mean, again, if I'm an old school person, like that would fire me up because those schools kind of got all separated over time with conference realignments and all that different stuff. I think that trio is pretty neat for Texas.
Yeah, I think I think Texas likes that. Arkansas is not very good right now. They know what they get in Oklahoma because that's just a long-standing rivalry, and the Red River rivalry game. It was never going to go away. And they don't have any respect for A&M. I mean, that's their little brother, and that's kind of how they treat it. That game's always full of intensity. I tell you what, A&M fans probably don't love their draw.
Nope.
Right? They've got Texas, which they hate, and it's Texas, and Texas has no respect for them. And then LSU is no easy cakewalk there. And then Missouri's been good the last few years. I mean, they have been. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz has done a good job there. But again, I don't know that you were ever going to go, man, this is this is perfectly competitively balanced all the way through when you look at it. I think the justification analytically with Kentucky and Tennessee, beyond the geography, beyond the rivalry deal, Kentucky's been a good team the last 10 years. Okay, now you could say scheduling helped that, but their number of wins has been good. But to Rob's point, how many other people have 2 games on their deal where the stadiums that they play in are not considered real hostile environments? I mean, that's a home game for Tennessee when they go to Vanderbilt, right? I mean, there's a bunch of Tennessee fans there, and I mean, no offense to the folks in Lexington, but I mean, I don't think anybody calls that one of the pits to go have to play in, one of the legions of doom to go have to play in. So, and
especially for Tennessee, I mean, that's easy road trip for
it's an easy road trip, and Tennessee's had so much success there, even when Kentucky's been good. I mean, aside from playing a backup quarterback on a day Tennessee didn't want to be there, Tennessee's found a way to win that game even when Kentucky was better. So I think the rest of the team probably looks at Tennessee's draw and says, yeah, and Tennessee says, well, you know what? For the last 20 years, we've had Georgia, Florida, Alabama. So we'll take our 4 years. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
You look at the announcement coming out later tonight. Again, it's going to be for the next 4 seasons, 26 through 29. You're going to get home and away, I believe, and you're not going to get any dates or anything like that. But I'm intrigued to see what Tennessee's schedule is going to look like for 2026 and beyond. I think that going back to what you guys were talking about earlier, I mean, aside from having these 3 annuals already named, it still could end up being a very extremely tough schedule. It could be middle of the road. I'm intrigued to see kind of how they work to try to get balance throughout the rest of the thing. And then, of course, they're just going to rotate on a 2-year basis as well. And it's going to be interesting. I think tonight's going to be really, really exciting to see kind of what the future of the league's going to look like. And also, anybody else think it was kind of weird how they're going to reevaluate this after 4 years? I mean, expansion, right?
There you go. You hit the nail on the head. At the end of the day, trying to preserve the third Saturday in October, the Iron Bowl, Red River rivalry, all that stuff's great, but eventually this thing's going to get bigger and bigger. Like the league's going to expand. Most everybody thinks this thing's going to end up in 2 super conferences. Who knows when that actually does happen? But let's just say you continue to expand, it's going to be near impossible to hold some of these rivalries together at that point, which means probably more like an NFL model where the Cowboys may, there's no divisions, or maybe they do. Maybe they have so many teams they can go divisions and go like
pods.
I mean, I don't know. I just think that you're trying to sustain it and trying to preserve it while you can, but eventually it probably does go by the wayside.
Well, I'll say, and I think the league, Rob, probably didn't want to go anything other than what they said with 4 years. If this league is where it's at right now, 4 years from now, I think we'll all be a little bit surprised.
Yeah, I'd say no chance.
But if it were, they're not going to adjust these 3 games at that point, right? I mean, what games are you going to take away? I don't think there's going to be any kind of great adjustment unless there's more teams in the league, which there's certainly talk about maybe adding a couple of ACC teams. There's been reports out there that Virginia and North Carolina are 2 teams that are targeted by both the Big Ten and the SEC if you're looking at expansion. And then if you go to a super conference or two super conferences, then the SEC as you know it doesn't exist, because now you're talking about all kinds of major realignment, which again on paper looks really good, but then you see the story that the Stanford equipment truck drove 4 days to get to North Carolina to play a football game, and you're kind of going, what are we doing here? Like, where is that balance? And I think that's big picture, a podcast for a different day, but how you get there and what that looks like will be somewhat fascinating over the course of the next 10 years or so.
I mean, it's got to be expansion talk, because again, 4 years is not a big enough sample size to reevaluate anything
Right.
from a competitive landscape in this league.
But the question is, where's the ACC in 4 years? I think that's the next domino, right? Like, because I don't think you're going to jump from where you are right now to two major super conferences. There's probably some more expansion along the way before you get to that. The question is, to me, if there's going to be expansions, what happens with the ACC? I think that's the one conference everybody's got their eye on right now.
So 3 permanent opponents reported by Chris Lowe of On 3, and of course the official announcement set for later tonight for a made-for-TV event. It'll be an hour long on the SEC Network. Looking forward to seeing what that looks like, Brent Hubbs.
Yeah, and obviously I don't think the league wanted it out, but they've got some other things to talk about, because you've got the rest of the opponents, which that's as intriguing as it is as the 3 opponents are. Is who are the other 6 that you're going to have? Danny White saying on Saturday that Tennessee will have 5 conference games next year in 26. That's already been decided. And then they will end up going to Georgia Tech. And then the next year they'll get 4 conference games, and they'll have Georgia Tech at home. So the plan would be for Tennessee to have 5 Power 4 games every year in your stadium, whether that ends up being 5 conference games or 4 conference games. There's going to be some team that's not going to be happy because their schedule may be a little out of balance. They're going to have to move some games around in order to be where Tennessee's at, to ensure that you have 5 Power 4 games on your campus every year, which is what every athletics director is trying to get accomplished here. And there's going to be some scrambling around for that. I think Tennessee, because they lost the Oklahoma game and had to scramble to find a game because the league told them they couldn't play it. Nebraska leaving when they did, and Tennessee having to scramble to get a series with Georgia Tech. I think the conference took a little reprieve there with Tennessee and said, okay, you guys are set up from now through 2030 for it all to fall 5-4 the right way. And I think that's part of the reason why Tennessee is going to land with 5 conference games next season in Neyland Stadium, and then 4 in 27, 4 conference games.